My name is
David.
My name is
Jelena.
My name is
Gino.
My name is
Tess.
My name is
Yelena.
My name is
Francisco.
And we're here to talk about strategic management.
The first thing we're going to talk about is what strategic management theory is. Strategic management theory involves the formation of a common vision. It also includes setting objectives, crafting a strategic plan, and implementing and executing the plan. The plan has to be constantly changed to make the organization successful. This theory analyzes both internal and external factors such as consumer demands, environment, projections, competition, etc. in order to enhance the competitiveness of the organization. Over the next few slides, we will be discussing peer-reviewed articles on strategic management.
So our first article was entitled Improving Employee Engagement and Well-Being in an NHS Trust. And in order to understand the article, we've got to understand a couple definitions. So an NHS it stands for the National Health Service, and that's based out of England. An NHS Trust is an organization within the NHS that either provides a service or a specialized function to a geographical area. And then a foundation trust equivalent FTE status, the status that those trusts can achieve, which will give them more freedom to go ahead and run their systems as long as they meet government standards. So linking it to strategic management, the article mentioned that they had a vision of more productive staff. The strategy for them was to increase the employee's psychological well-being, which will lead to a higher sense of purpose amongst employees and better psychological health. These both would lead to increased engagement amongst their employees and would end up with higher productivity, which was the original vision, and the tool that they used to do it was leadership development centers, which were one-day workshops. And the one-day workshops, they had participants observed and assessed throughout a number of different exercises like group discussions and role-playing against agreed criteria, so against like what the company would normally train on. And then all the participants received feedback for their performance. And instead of focusing on specific job trainings, they had general management skills that were focused on. So those four were self-development, drive and motivation, leading through people, and strategic capacity. And so did it work? So all the senior managers and clinicians that went to the centers completed a questionnaire, and that allowed some feedback on their natural leadership style. Each participant also got an action plan upon leaving that will help them improve their well-being and engagement as managers, and it would help them address different priorities amongst their staff and become more effective leaders. Overall, 75% agreed that they found it was useful for their personal development, and 83% agreed that the centers met their expectations.
Sustainable supply chain management practices and dynamic capabilities in the food industry, a literature review examining 52 peer-reviewed articles on sustainable food supply chains. The food industry is an example of a dynamic environment. Customers have high expectations for food safety and a growing demand for sustainably produced food. Companies fulfilling these demands target a customer base with high awareness of all three dimensions of sustainability: economical, ecological, and social circumstances in which food is produced and offered. Besk et al. Describe how sustainable supply chain management practices allow companies to maintain control over their supply chain and achieve a competitive advantage with the implementation of dynamic capabilities. Sustainable supply chain management is the management of material, information, and capital flow, as well as cooperation among the companies along the supply chain while taking goals from all three dimensions of sustainable development. This involves integrating environmentally viable practices into the complete supply chain life cycle from production to consumption. Dynamic capabilities are the firm's ability to integrate, build, and reconfigure internal and external competences to address rapidly changing environments. Dynamic capabilities, thus, are the organizational and strategic routines by which firms achieve new resource configuration. Through material collection, descriptive analysis, category selection, and material evaluation, Best et al. Established a link between the practice of supply chain and dynamic capabilities in sustainable supply chain management. Authors argue that the application of dynamic capabilities for sustainable supply chain management can result in a better sustainability performance for the overall supply chain, thereby including the environmental performance at least of the focal company and often of other supply chain partners as well.
And in this other article, Singapore Airlines Strategic Management focuses on these listed right here. Their senior management views these focuses as their key drivers to service excellence. And Singapore Airlines is known internationally as one of the world's best airline carriers, as listed with these right here. It's been voted for all of these, and they recognize the high demands customers put on them and difficulty it causes to be the best. High demands and expectations mean that there are needs to frequently review and change what they need to do. This was a frequent theme during the interviews and is called strategic focus. And they aim to provide service excellence that is personalized through customer needs. So they noticed that passengers were becoming more health conscious, so they made the food lighter and more nutritious, and they developed a cell phone service because they believed that there would be a demand, and their philosophy is to provide their customers with a truly wonderful experience. And then the airline is has a very detailed feedback method to help their staff better understand customer needs. If a customer thinks a meal is too salty, then they will change the salt content in the item right away, and the focus is about customer satisfaction. Their former chairman said that no matter what your job is, you are there because of a customer who is willing to pay. The philosophy is the secret to their success. And lastly, to focus on motivation and communication, corporate meetings and briefings are held frequently to provide to keep employees informed, and recognitions for awards to show gratitude.
The next article is Strategic Management, No Band-Aid Required. It discusses that it's more important to look for long-term fixes in strategic management, not to look for Band-Aid fixes because you're prepping for surgery, and short-term issues seem more visible and easy to fix when in fact it is more important to focus your energy on long-term issues. At this stage, in the first stage of strategic management, employees are anxious for change to take place and hope that it succeeds while others are waiting for it to fail. Many years of hard work are needed before the organization can reach its goal and reap the benefits of a properly run strategic management business. This 4-year plan is necessary for strategic management to be successful. In the first year, you identify that there is a problem, and the management team decides to work together as a whole team to improve their current strategic situation. In the second and third year of the planning process, more employees will begin to become involved, and the planning process will be incorporated in the organization's business process. Employees that are still rejecting the idea of the planning process are replaced by willing employees, and so the overall results will improve. In addition, non-productive products and business segments will also be replaced. In the fourth year and beyond, the organization has fully integrated the planning process. Strategic management becomes a way of life, so it is now viewed as a normal process within the organization. Overall, the time it takes to convert to a strategic management business may take long, but all the hard work and time put in will definitely be worth it in the end.
Research by Stiran and others on topic creativity and innovation in haute cuisine towards a systemic model conducted in 2014. It was conducted on 18 haute cuisine world-class chefs on the topic of creativity and innovation. Selection was throughout Michelin and Golf Miller guides, both considered as the highest reward and achievement a chef can obtain. It takes years of preparation, hard work, passion, dedication to gain 3 Michelin stars. And just to put it in the perspective, there are only 14 restaurants with 3 Michelin stars in the whole United States, 6 in New York, 6 in San Francisco, and 2 in Chicago. The research was conducted for a better understanding of creativity and innovation process among chefs, as not a linear process but experience derived from intuition, as well as dependency of social evaluation and acceptance. In haute cuisine, emphasis was put onto novelty, aesthetics, and cleverness of creating a dish which in return produces a feeling of happiness. However, production sequence management and strategies are secondary to that of creativity that holds the emotional satisfaction as a reward. In contrast, Galtmilov wrote that with zero creativity, food can be fantastic. In another research collected and incorporated into this article, the creativity is described as an illusion of endless ideas in creative people, simultaneously suggests that creative process can consist of careful preparation, incubation, evaluation, and still be successful.
So in our last study, we found that food service industry is challenged by the limited sustainable practices and innovative approaches to solve this problem, according to their researchers Sarah Conan et al. In the system practice framework and integrated approach for food service research. It provided a hybrid combination of various existing food service systems, which is a strategic management part of it, and a social model. The methods included in this research was the collection of documents to analyze their observations made in focus groups and interviews from managers and kitchen staff in 3 public hospitals in New Zealand. So what they found was that managers were more concerned about cost rather than the environment, arguing that staff were not concerned about it. And what was surprising was that actually kitchen staff was pretty much concerned about the cost as much as the social implications. So the study demonstrated that system practice framework ensures that all subsystems in food service can be subject to food waste generation. And in further analysis, the results suggest that combined system practice framework in food services provided sustainable practice guidelines for successful strategic planning to prevent food waste.
In a conclusion, the above studies concentrated around the improvement of the organization. Strategic management could be applied in order to enhance the competitiveness of the organization, and the literature review provided insight in ways in which the food service industry adapts, and marketplace strategic management is needed for adaptation and growth of the organization.